5 nights ago, against my better judgment, I went for a late run around 10 p.m. My college has an open campus surrounded by woods and a few simple trails, which can feel eerie after dark. The area around my school is generally safe, so I don't usually stress about running alone. But that night my phone, which doubled as my flashlight, died halfway through my run. I'd been having battery problems with it, and it shut off despite showing 10 to 20% charge, typical iPhone nonsense. Panic set in immediately since I was on a dimly lit, isolated trail. I stopped to mess with my phone, hoping it would somehow come back to life, but no luck. I had on reflective running tights, making me easily noticeable. Just as I was about to start running again, I spotted a man approaching. I hadn't seen him before, but he likely came from the wooded area near a public restroom and picnic table. He was smoking a cigarette, holding a phone, and gave off a creepy vibe. By the time I registered his presence, he was only a few feet away. He slurred, "Hey miss, you lost?" The smell of smoke and his unsteady voice made me think he might be a homeless guy, possibly drunk, lingering near the restroom area. I quickly said no, claiming I was heading to a friend's place despite my obvious workout gear. He looked me up and down, let out a whistle, and said, "Wow, you look good enough to eat. Check out that figure." Then he smacked my backside. I gasped and stepped back, but he grabbed my wrist. I thought it was over for me and let out a scream, but no one was around to hear. My heart was pounding and I felt faint from fear. He laughed darkly and said, "Quiet down, no one's coming." Adrenaline surged through me. Then, thank goodness, a light appeared behind me. A biker was approaching. A voice called out, "Maddie, is that you? What are you doing out so late?" The man muttered a curse, released me, and bolted. The biker stopped, hopped off his bike, and checked on me. I didn't know this guy at all, and he didn't know me. He asked if I was okay and what had happened. I spilled the whole story, nearly collapsing with gratitude. He seemed just as shaken as I was. When he asked where I lived, I told him I was a student at college name, and he said he was a grad student there too. He took off his hoodie and gave it to me since I was only wearing a tank top. Then he walked me 2 miles back to my dorm. During the walk, he tried to make small talk about school, but I was too rattled to respond coherently. So he shared about himself. He's a second-year computer science grad student, loves cooking, watches The Office, plays basketball poorly, and works part-time at Google. He gave me his number and email, saying to contact him if I needed to file a police report or talk. He apologized for what happened and said he was glad I was safe. I thanked him endlessly and went home. The next day, I texted him to thank him again and filed a police report. I can't express how grateful I am. He saved my life. Without him, things could have ended horribly. I want to take him out to dinner to show my appreciation, but is that too much? I also need to return his hoodie, and honestly, I'm a little smitten with him. Is that a bad idea? Any suggestions on how to show my thanks? Should I text or call about dinner? Also, yes, I've booked a therapy appointment. I'm coping okay, but know it's best to talk to a professional. Update 1. Thanks for all the supportive replies to my first post. Your encouragement gave me the courage to reach out. Many of you suggested texting him an update and asking him for coffee to return his hoodie and thank him, since dinner felt too date-like. That's what I did. I texted him, saying I filed the police report, and asked if I could treat him to coffee to say thanks and give back his hoodie. He didn't reply for a day, and I worried I'd overstepped. But then he responded, saying he was glad I reported it, asking how I was, and insisting I didn't need to thank him. It was just what anyone would do. Still, he agreed to coffee. We met on Saturday morning, and I was so nervous I arrived 15 minutes early, fidgeting with his hoodie. I barely remembered what he looked like since that night was a blur, and it was dark when he walked me home. I just recalled he was tall with a kind smile. Then a tall guy walked into the coffee shop, spotted me, and gave an awkward wave. I blurted out, "Wow, your eyes are blue." I thought they were brown. I wanted to disappear, but he laughed and said, "Yeah, they can trick you in the dark." We ordered coffee, he wouldn't let me pay, and sat down. I returned his hoodie, and we ended up talking for 2 hours about school, summer plans, The Office, my favorite show too, music, politics, and more. I asked why he called me Maddie that night, and he said he'd read that pretending to know someone in danger can de-escalate things safely. So yeah, he's thoughtful, charming, and super attractive. But he didn't seem romantically interested, not that it was a date. We didn't talk for 5 days until I sent him an Office meme on a whim. We ended up texting until 1 a.m. Feeling bold, I texted, "Hey, can I treat you to lunch? Coffee didn't count since you paid." He agreed, and I managed to pay this time. I wore a cute sundress, and he said, "That dress is awesome, you look great." We had a blast, but as we left, I noticed he forgot his phone on his chair. I grabbed it and handed it to him, important later. 2 weeks later, while he was out of town, we kept texting. Then he sent, "Hey, can I take you to dinner to thank you for grabbing my phone?" Mimicking how I asked him out. Adorable. I said yes, and we're going to dinner tomorrow. I really like him, but don't know how he feels. Maybe I'll ask at dinner. That's the update for now. Update 2. Thanks again for all the positivity. It means so much. Here's what happened at our dinner date. I woke up Sunday at 11 a.m., no judgment, to a 7:30 a.m. text from him. "Hey, how's cute Mediterranean restaurant for tonight?" I giggled like an idiot, replied it sounded perfect, and asked when to meet. He said 7 p.m. and offered to pick me up at 6:45. I teased, "You remember where I live?" He replied, "How could I forget? It's where I lost my favorite hoodie." He knocked on my door right on time, but I was so eager I opened it after one knock. He looked amazing in a light blue button-up, sleeves rolled up and fitted black jeans. His smile was shy as he said, "Ready?" He opened his car door for me, and though the ride started awkwardly, we ended up singing along to Mr. Brightside after he let me play my Spotify. Turns out he's an incredible singer. He was in an a cappella group in college and plays the cello like a pro. Yes, I looked up old videos of him playing. At the restaurant, we waited briefly, then sat and ordered. The conversation flowed effortlessly. I asked if he used Reddit. He looked confused and said no, few were safe for now. He teased me about my small hands, holding his up to compare. I swooned. We laughed when he choked on water, shifting his contact lens. Dinner ended too soon, and I swear we both walked slowly back to the car. At my house, we had that awkward "what now" moment. I said thanks for dinner, his name, dropped my purse and got out. He called, "Hey, your purse." I dramatically said, "Oh no, forgot my purse, guess I owe you another outing." He laughed, facepalmed the steering wheel and said, "Okay, good night, text me when." I couldn't sleep. Saturday I texted, "Having an office marathon, wanna come over for takeout?" He replied after 30 minutes, "Sounds awesome, I'm in." He showed up in sweatpants, a hoodie, glasses, so cute, and brought chips and guac. We ordered Indian food and watched on my couch. At first we sat apart, but by episode 3 our legs were touching. By episode 5 we leaned back together. By 7 my head was on his shoulder, his arm behind me, not around me, sadly. He started dozing off, and I teased if he needed to go. He admitted he'd been sleeping 5 hours a night for a school project. I insisted he sleep before midnight. It was already 11 p.m. At the door he said, "Tonight was great, let's do it again." He looked so kissable. I hugged him, he hugged back, and we lingered, avoiding each other's lips. Then he leaned in and kissed me, short but sweet. He said good night and left. I didn't sleep. He texted the next morning, saying he slept better than he had in ages. I'm over the moon, but unsure if he likes me. Maybe he was just tired when he kissed me. I don't know what's next, but I'm thrilled. New story. My ex-wife, who cheated on me years ago, is terminally ill with less than 6 months to live. She asked my sister if I'd act like her husband again for her final days. My current wife is okay with it, but I'm torn. Background: I met my ex at 10. She's my twin sister's best friend, so we grew up as a trio. We started dating at 14, married at 23. 5 years into marriage, she confessed to a month-long affair with a coworker, overwhelmed by guilt. We tried to fix things, but I couldn't trust her anymore, despite still loving her. She said she'd wait for me and prove her love, but some things are irreparable. We divorced, no kids. 3 years later, I met my current wife, 38F, and we married after 2 years. She's my dream partner, and I'm happier than ever. My ex never moved on, per my sister. They're still close. She quit her job, works at a church, and swore off relationships. On my wedding day, she said she'd always love me and wait, but promised not to bother me again. My sister says she's kept that promise. Recently, my sister visited with her kids for a playdate with ours, 7F, 3M. While my wife was out grabbing lunch, my sister shared that my ex is dying and refusing treatment, wanting to live her last months fully. Part of her bucket list is to feel like my wife again, not romantically, just having me around her house, our old marital home, maybe holding her occasionally. I said no, as it felt like emotional cheating. My sister begged me to at least meet her. We argued quietly, kids were nearby until my wife returned. My sister told my wife everything. Though upset, my wife said she understood my ex's perspective and wouldn't mind if I visited regularly. My wife knows my history with my ex and trusts I won't cheat. I have no romantic feelings for my ex. The love died long ago. I don't hate her, I just feel neutral. I'm torn. I don't owe her anything, but I might regret not seeing her one last time, especially since our last meeting. My wedding day was rough. I want her to find peace, but I'm worried about my marriage. My wife says she's fine, but I fear she might feel differently later. I'm not excited about going. Any advice? If I do this, it'll just be visiting and talking, not acting like a husband. My sister says sharing a meal would be enough for her to feel closure. Update. It's been 3 weeks, and thanks to your advice, especially those who shared personal stories, I made a decision. I had a long talk with my wife, stressing that she's my priority and I'd only visit my ex as a friend, never alone or overnight. She felt better, admitting she'd initially felt pressured by my sister, but was now genuinely okay. I spoke with my sister, and after a heated debate, she agreed to my boundaries. A week later, we visited my ex's house, our old home. It was strange, but I felt no anger or sadness. My ex cried when I arrived. Some of you thought she might be faking, but her illness was obvious, though she was still strong. I hugged her, and we talked for hours while my sister cooked lunch. I shared stories and photos of my kids. It felt like catching up with an old friend, no resentment. The house was unchanged, with our wedding photos still up, which was odd, but I didn't comment. We ate lunch and played board games like when we were kids. It was nice. I left at 6 p.m. She was sad but understood. She whispered, "I love you," during our goodbye hug, then said she was happy I found joy she couldn't give. That hit me hard, and I held back tears. I promised to visit again and bring my kids. I told my wife everything, and she was happy with how it went. Her favorite takeout helped. She agreed to let the kids come next time. It was a good experience, and I'm glad I went. I'd have regretted missing it. Thanks for the advice. Please don't judge my ex too harshly. She messed up but isn't a bad person. This is my final update.